Hi, friends. Today we are going to talk about a little bit of the astrology happening this week. And I have a source here, so I'll be referring to a few dates because there's a lot to update you on the astrological transits. And if you are already tapping in and tuning into this energy and feeling a bit off, or feeling frantic energy or scatteredness, busy, buzzy, having issues with sleep or eating, relationships, it can really just affect us on so many various levels because each of our birth charts are so unique. So I would encourage you, if you are looking at keeping up with transits a bit more, check out your own chart and see how these affect you uniquely. Um, so through August 14th to the 19th is really what we're going to talk about. And we have a lot. And it's very interesting because it's all building up to next week. We have a full moon. And so right now the moon is about 60% full. So it's waxing and gaining the momentum. And it's very interesting that these planets are creating aspects that are giving us opportunities. And I really would love for you to see it in that way instead of challenges. Even we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde. It's been retrograding, so we're already experiencing it, but it's there's more on that to come. So Mars conjunct Jupiter is a really interesting one that's happening tomorrow, the 14th, August 14th. And Mars, as you know, is the god of war, and Jupiter is an expander. So it's very interesting when these two come together. It really puts our primal creative energy in an expansive state. We can potentially harness this energy to make quantum leaps, expanding our lives in so many possible ways. So it could also bring a lot of expansion around the energy of aggression. And so it's something to be very mindful of. It can be, because it's happening in Gemini, it can be an explosion around information. And definitely check out my Gene Key video that I did yesterday on Gene Key 4, because Gemini can be very mental energy. And the 4 that we spoke about is talking about the mental energy and the shadowy aspects that we can get into when we are trying to move in life from the head. Um, so the next one is Mercury retrogrades all the way into Leo. So it's been retrograding into Virgo, the progression that it had made into Virgo. Now it's back into Leo. So we're seeing a review of some things that you might have felt like were dealt with months ago. And so Mercury is really coming here to just tighten up some of the things that you may have skipped over, you may have missed. And it's just being like, remember this, knock knock, responsibility, and it may get your attention through issues. So there's that. Then we have Mars conjunct, I'm sorry, I said that already. Mars square Saturn, which is currently retrograding in Pisces. Saturn retrogrades every year, so it's pretty standard. We typically feel that around this year, and we're pretty well used to it. I mean, it's always been happening, so since you've been on Earth. So, but the sign that it's in is significant. It does change. So Saturn's been retrograding in Pisces. Mars is going to be square Gemini. So square is typically a challenging aspect. When you see a square in your own chart, or see a square in a transit, it can create a dynamic of tension. So Mars likes to take action, move forward quickly, and is very passionate. Saturn is the lord of time and authority, boundaries, and responsibility. So the square is most commonly known for its challenges and blockages, but with some dedication and effort, those challenges can become the building blocks for a sustainable foundation. So it's an opportunity to push through, to persevere, to conquer. And as humans, we are designed to really crave that, whether you acknowledge it or not. So, um, Mars square Saturn can have us feeling like we just got clotheslined. Move your body, lift weights, harness this energy to accomplish those tasks that require hard work and stamina. This can also indicate totalitarian oppression of actions. So that's referring to the collective, and potentially any other authority issues you might have in your life. But yeah, I love that. recommendation, and I'll link up this woman's Instagram account and you can dig into a little bit more of what she wrote. And apparently she has some sort of teaching video that she did on it too. But she just really condensed the information in the best way that I've seen yet. So I'm piggybacking off of her notes here, which I'm very grateful for. So touching on the Mercury retrograde that's in Leo, it will be square Uranus. That's August 18th. So August 14th, that's tomorrow. We have the Mars conjunct Jupiter. That's a very advantageous uh, aspect. I'm like, word, where are you? The only shadow of that is potentially overwhelming the mind or making decisions from the mind or overconsumption of information. Then August 15th, we have the Mars square Saturn that I just talked about. And then we have the Mercury that's retrograde Leo square Uranus August 18th. And so that will be, what date is that? That'll be Sunday. Okay, so Uranus represents the rebel, the revolutionary. It is the ruler of Aquarius. So you can think Aquarian themes. If you know an Aquarius, you can really understand a ruling planet by trying to decipher and understand the person who that ruling planet rules, that sign. The the person that comes from that sign that the ruling planet rules. So in this case, it will be Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So they want to bring focus to change, freedom, and authenticity. And if you know an Aquarius, oh my God, that this is so true. There can be breakdowns that lead to breakthroughs. And even when the rug gets pulled out from under our feet with this aspect, when the dust settles, we can find ourselves freer than before. Mercury is communication, technology, travel, and the mental field. With Mercury RX square Uranus, we can feel restless yet unable to communicate where we need to change. Or the changes we can make can cause miscommunications. As Uranus also rules the internet, this can also be misinformation and revolutionary global changes. So check your sources, cross reference, make sure you are doing informing, make sure you are keeping your inner circle nurtured and nourished by letting them know what you're doing and why. Is really a great idea. And yeah, be mindful of your words and be mindful what you're taking in, and try to be graceful of other people's communications too. They might be trying their best, but it might not be translating. Then August 18th and 19th, this is the longer aspect. The sun will conjunct Mercury retrograde, and then it will square Uranus. So sun will come together with Mercury, and then it will square Uranus. This can continue to shine the light on any tensions that were brought up by the Mercury RX Uranus square, which was the day before, August 18th. This is also part of what is involved with the Aquarius full supermoon that is coming up, highlighting our need for freedom to be our unique, authentic individual selves and any emotional difficulties with communicating the insights and revelations brought about by changes in our values that have occurred over the past 6 years. And that's connecting to, she's saying that because of the moon. And so we're kind of ending the week with that energy. For me, it feels like we're hitching up, building up to that expression, and this is a very unique time. I mean, she said it really beautifully. Over the span of 6 days, and or specifically these 4 core days, we have some really potent astrological events with some of the biggest players in the heavens. All of the planets are involved, with the exception of Neptune and Pluto. Just a reminder that astrological events are not to be feared. I love that she said that. But she's basically saying that we are living through a very unique karmic time, and our souls are perfectly equipped to navigate this. But I want you, again, to see this as opportunities. I want you to see this as, energy that could also help you build stronger foundations, create more intimacy and transparency in your relationships with your communication and the way you speak with each other. And then there's also opportunities with love, because Venus is going to be square Jupiter, and then Venus will oppose Saturn. And so our relationship dynamics are also coming into some tension and some trial and a little bit of review there. So, with the Venus square Jupiter and the Venus opposing Saturn, those are both really massive energy planets, Jupiter and Saturn. And Venus really wants to go slow and wants to be loved and wants to luxuriate and be in harmony and relationship. And those two planets creating squares or oppositions are really asking you to, first off, with Saturn, to reevaluate what you value. Reevaluate what you value in relationship and partnership, and to create perhaps a new MO, how you navigate your relationships and how you want them to move forward in a more responsible, solid fashion that ultimately, of course, will create more transparency and intimacy and connection. And then with that Venus square Jupiter, I think that that aspect is really asking us to notice where we've maybe overexpanded in relationships, where we've created an imbalance, where we're over giving or we're over receiving, and see where you can sort of balance out the scales again and create a little bit more harmony and peace and the connection, and allow Jupiter to expand you to see new creative ways to create balance within your relationships in a way that feels good for both parties. And you may find that you've been very heavily focused on your family. It's been summertime and kids have been out of school, and now you may have found that you really let your friendships go and stop nourishing them and connecting with them the way that you might have wished you could. And so it will be a time to create more balance if that was the case for you, and reach out to your friendships and make sure that those are getting nourished and nurtured as well. Put some fertilizer on there. Especially if there are people that are important to you and you want them to know that. Make sure you communicate that and do so with simple words, simple gestures. I think Mercury retrograde requests us to be very precise and direct with the way we communicate, and graceful and gracious with others. In dialogue, because everyone truly, I believe, is trying to do the best they can. And again, we don't know how energies are influencing each and every person. So it's always a good practice to be gracious and to give grace, and um, understanding and compassion. But this is emphasized now. I shouldn't say but, I should say and, it's emphasized. So really, really, really do it. It will be very helpful, and you'll find a lot more peace as you navigate this season that has a lot of opportunities. So make sure you show up, bring your A game to this week. You can do it. We can do it. I'm feeling really energized personally, and I feel like the gym suggestion was a great idea. I went to the gym this morning, and I have been requiring more sleep, but I've been really putting some discipline around going to bed early and then waking up early so that I can kind of start to reset my clock, because I had gotten off there and was staying up really late, and then kind of hitting that second wind where I'm staying up even later because now I have energy. And, I was joking in my circle the other day. I was like, sometimes I'll stay up so late and get such a hit of energy that I'm like, maybe I'll just go into tomorrow, Let's get that started now. I know I'm not the only one that has said that before, but I hope that you can remember your humor. Remember to be kind to yourself first and foremost, especially we don't know how your body is going to feel with all these shifts energetically. There's also a ton of solar flares happening right now, too. So be gentle, honor what your body needs. Find play, find a way to lighten, to soften, to be graceful. And maybe this week isn't the week where you are really observing and judging yourself a lot. Maybe give yourself a little hall pass this week. You don't have to judge your body. You don't have to judge your thoughts. You don't have to try to quantum leap into your career path or start the business. I wouldn't suggest much of that this week. I think this week is about nourishment and healing, and then taking the forceful energy and channeling it towards maybe some exercise or some play that is involving movement, and really making sure you're doing that. Because if you're nourishing yourself, but then others are coming into your environment and then you're getting triggered and you have all this pent up energy, then we know where that's going to go. So it's a balancing act this week, and you've got it. Like the post said, we're the exact souls that were chosen and chose, I believe, to be here during these really interesting times. And keep an eye on the collective. It'll be interesting to see how some of these bigger planets shift our collective dynamic, which I think we always need. The only constant is change. So I love you all. I'll see you soon, like tomorrow soon. Bye.